Previously on
But,
Ballz.
and
on that note,
and listen, he's been whining all since the series started about the referees. You're such a whinger, you whinging pom.
Yeah, I know. I accept that, Darren. The problem that I have is that a lot of my Twitter feed is based on around English people from my previous life, and an awful lot of them had very, very uncomplimentary things to say about a man called Alain Roland, who's French, half Irish. Now, with any knowledge of geography, you know that the French and the Irish both hate the English.
Yeah.
And the week before, I felt that Steve Walsh was equally harsh on England, particularly in the scrums. He seemed to have a whole different way of refereeing scrums in the Southern Hemisphere. It was an absolute robbery. It could have been a good series, mate.
Do we have any violin music here?
Save it, Neil.
Ruined, but come on, Simon. You know I'm right. If
I
it
thought-
had been Brian to you,
Violent Femmes.
I was actually commentating that game with Tank Lanning. We were calling that game, and Tank seemed to believe that Alain Roland was, he had bad calls on both sides regarding the scrum.
He always does. He's hopeless.
No, mate. Your scrum was going backwards. You're faster than an Oxwagon back down the Drakensberg.
That was the second half when the game was over.
And then he was blowing up every time he went backwards. Anyway, listen, we're not here to talk rugby because otherwise my head would pop. Come on, tell me.
When are you guys going to stop thinking you're the best rugby team in the world every single day of the week, 24/7, 365 days a year, and realise there are teams that are better than you at times? Most times.
When Bryce Lawrence put you guys out, what did you guys say?
But that was legit. You saw it.
Okay, sorry. It was a whole different way of
No,
refereeing.
I don't think Bryce Lawrence had anything to do with us going out. I just think that we cocked it up
Our
ourselves.
gripes were legitimate.
Yeah. What is the... Okay, rattle off the excuses when you guys get knocked out of Euro tomorrow.
Yeah, no. I think the excuses will probably stop Wayne Rooney, because having Wayne Rooney back...
Wayne Rooney?
Yeah, Rooney. Having Wayne Rooney back... Don't start, okay? Wibberwee.
Sorry, Roy. Wibberwee's going to take out Woody.
You see, the thing is, it's not rude, because that really is how Roy talks. Wayne Rooney, right, he's coming back from suspension, just as England finally find out that Andy Carroll can score goals and Danny Welbeck can backheel the odd ball over the line. And, of course, that means that with Rooney back, the superstar, in inverted commas, I'm not a great fan, it means that England are going to have to disturb their front line, I think. There is talk today of leaving Welbeck and Andy Carroll up front and putting Rooney in behind the front two. So what we've got is a situation where tomorrow night England play the Ukraine. They're 1 point ahead of them so far. A draw would suit England, which is always dodgy going in looking for a draw in football. And it really could be a very, very nasty evening for England fans, because the Ukraine are at home. Shevchenko playing what could be his last game at 35. Hell of a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was not seen around at practice, but is he going to play? Do you know any better?
Yeah, Shevchenko's got what you call fluid on the knee. All of us know about that. He's at that age where every time he takes a knock in a game, his knee swells up. I'm absolutely sure that he'll be fit and roaring and on Lance Armstrong's drugs to get him through the whole game. And I've got no question at all that Chevy will start and will have a magnificent game. I'm just as nervous about this as I've been about any of the England games. It's going to be a very, very tough one. You know that.
Simon also had a case of fluid on the knee late Saturday night, but that was a completely different thing.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yes.
Like in Hatfield. Yeah, no, there is a lot of fluid around there, yeah.
Yeah. No, I wasn't talking about Hatfield, I was talking about afterwards. But anyway, let's move on.
Was it on my knee?
Knees? Anyway, so...
That's Johnny.
Let's move on. Now, aren't England making the same mistake that the Dutch made last night? And that is, and I think it was John Barnes that made a very, very good point. You start the game by throwing all your... everyone's been on their backs about Huntelaar sitting on the bench and only starting with Van Persie. So what does the coach do? He starts with both of them. And John Barnes made the point, is like, why do you actually throw them out there almost in a panic measure right up front? What are the changes you're going to make? You're going to actually make changes where you get more defensive when you actually maybe need to be more attacking, as was the case in their game last night.
No, I heard John say that, and I'm glad he's coming on your show later in the week, because he is a magnificent fellow, John Barnes.
Well, come join us when he's here.
But
you've got to let him have a word in edgeways, Neil.
No, I can't do that. So, listen, to play Huntelaar and Van Persie up front together when Van Persie clearly doesn't suit the Dutch style like Arsenal suits him. It looked like Robin Van Persie's kind of slightly disabled younger brother was playing for them last night. To play Huntelaar, and then they brought Van der Vaart in, like everyone's been demanding, and he scored this great goal, Father's Day and all that on Father's Day, and it was absolutely brilliant to see the Dutch going forward in the first 10, 15 minutes. But you're right. I mean, John was absolutely right. You cannot throw everything forward the whole game against a side like Portugal, and then Cristiano Ronaldo absolutely battered them. Yeah. And what a comeback from CR7. It was quite an extraordinary game to watch, because that's probably the best he's ever played for Portugal.
You know what he needs to do? And I know last night was probably more about actually trying to prove a point with Messi, because and there were lots of reports about how awestruck he's got a man crush on him or something, or he's in awe of him, or obsession with him. He should actually just come out and admit that Messi's a better footballer, he's the world's greatest, even if Ronaldo is better than him. Come out and say, he is the world's best, I have a lot of respect for him, and get this thing behind him so he can just play football without everyone thinking he's just trying to outdo Messi, because I don't think it does him any favours. He's a good footballer, I don't like him, but then that's because he played for Man United. But I mean, last night, literally, when Portugal needed to up the ante, the Dutch had no answer.
No, you're absolutely right. Listen, Ronaldo has admitted before that Messi's a better player than him in a very honourable and kind of humble way, but the press tend to ignore it. The Spanish press, they've got about 4 daily sports papers, and the pressure that Ronaldo is under is quite extraordinary. And I just think that he turned the corner last night, and that didn't help Holland's case. If he'd played as badly as he did in the 3-2 win, where he wasn't even celebrating the Portuguese goals, Holland might have had a chance. But as it turned out, Ronaldo back on form, scoring the goals, and now looking forward to taking Portugal quite a long way further, I think.
Yeah, so the Dutch are gone, and the coach has just been given, I think, a new 4-year contract. And now I think they're going to re-look at that now. So where he thought he might have been comfortable, regardless of whatever happened at Euro, they said before the game last night that it's Bert van Marwijk. They look like they're going to review his situation, and I think
he's gone, Darren. He's gone.
Have they fired him officially?
No. But
you could see his face afterwards as it's kind of that's it.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's lost the dressing room. He's lost the players. We saw it with Pizza Mosimani. We see it with Bert van Marwijk. Yeah.
All right. So let's obviously talk first of all tonight. The Irish gone as well. I can't see them really providing much competition for when they're playing Italy.
Yes.
And the other key game, of course, Spain against Croatia.
Yeah. No. So the Ireland game, you can always bundle it up and put whatever money you want. Giovanni Trapattoni, the 74-year-old Irish boss, is Italian.
He's gone as well.
He's gone, and they've just got no chance at all. So Italy win 5 or 6-0 tonight, or 2 or 3-0, and what we're left with then is Croatia, a couple of points behind Spain. If they were to get a win tonight, with Luka Modric playing quite well, and the whole Croatian side, very interesting combination of players they've got, we could easily see Spain, the world champions and European champions, falling out of the competition and joining pointless Holland and the big bear Russia out of the tournament, before we even get to knockout stages. That would be phenomenal. It's not that unlikely. I personally think that Spain should do it, because they can shut up shop, unlike the Dutch. And they're able to park the bus when they get an early goal. And I do think Iniesta's playing very well. But up front, Spain have got this awful thing where Torres, not had a great season, is suddenly back in form. Cesc Fabregas was used as the striker in the first game. What do they do up front? It'll be very, very interesting to see how they go tonight.
All right. Well, I think tonight's going to be more cut and dry than what we've seen over the tournament generally. As far as results goes, I don't think either side are going to have a problem. Italy or Spain go through. And that's all she wrote. As far as tomorrow goes, this is the one I've been a little bit nervous about, Ukraine against England, because this is where I was watching documentaries leading up to the tournament about the Ukraine hooligans saying they were going to team up together, even though they hate each other. They were going to team up just to have a go at the English and the England supporters. Yeah. And that is why I've kind of already penciled in here to chat to you on Wednesday, and hopefully it'll just be about the result in England's performance and what's coming up, as opposed to, but I've got a horrible feeling that there might be something else going on there tonight.
Yes, there's certainly talk that there will be trouble
tomorrow
outside
night,
in the
sorry,
streets.
not tonight.
So tomorrow night, trouble outside in the streets tomorrow night. But then when the Russians went out, we fully expected there to be trouble in Warsaw, and there wasn't. So we can console ourselves with that. And of course, even if England do get a draw with Ukraine or beat them, they've still probably got Spain or Italy in the next round, maybe even Croatia. So it's going to be a tough old time for England. There's no question of that. And hopefully Alain Roland won't be around to referee that.
Oh, get over it, please. Gee.
Right, listen, can I just throw in very quickly that Mark Gleeson, the very tall and very authoritative South African football writer, has just twittered that the Bafana job goes down to Gordon Iggesund or Steve Compella, that Gavin Hunt's out.
Has he withdrawn or they eliminated him?
As I understand it, they've now announced, and it's now coming up on all your Laduma and Kickoff websites, that we're down to 2. Compella was interviewed today after Bafana beat Gabon 3-0 on Friday night. That means that Steve Compella, the very, very articulate Steve Compella, who said that his team were a teabag who hadn't yet been put in water, which I thought was a great Eric Cantona-style quote. Compella's in the running. Gordon Igesund, the miracle worker of Morocco Swallows last season, is in the running. Gavin Hunt, the 4-trophy-winning Supersport manager, is out. Neil Tovey, the guy that got the best ever results in the UFA coaching qualification in Germany 4 or 5 years ago, he's out.
He'll be someone's assistant. Whoever gets the job, Tovey will be there as assistant. We spoke to him on the show, and he said he would happily take that job and serve his country.
That's how it looks. But obviously, his Tanda Royal Zulu are in the middle of playoffs at the moment, so we'll see what happens there. If they went up to the Premier League, I think that might change. But
your money on who?
My money has to be on Igesund.
Yeah.
I think Compella annoyed too many people by sticking to Pizzo's plan for his first game, his competitive game in charge against Botswana. He refused to change the things that Pizzo had put in place. And I just don't see Steve doing it. He needs another couple of years at Free State Stars, although I think he's a very impressive coach.
And Neil, the news that they've slashed the they slashed the salary of the Bafana coach. He's only going to earn between 400 and 500,000 a month.
That's because of what we said to Robin Peterson on the show.
Well, listen, I think that's to fund the payoff that they're going to have to give Pizzo Mosimane, and they have books to balance. But I will say this, that I heard a little whisper from a very, very experienced commentator at Supersport over the weekend that there was some acrimony about that in the interviews on Thursday, and that one of the more outspoken candidates had actually brought this subject up, and that's when it was leaked, that they're not going to pay them anywhere near what Carlos Alberto Pereira was paid, $800,000 a month, which is still small beer compared to Europe.
Why would anyone pay them as much as they gave him, considering he has a World Cup medal behind him? That's why they pay that much. Why anyone who walks in expecting that is absolutely stupid.
And then Pizzo held out to get the same money when he realised that he was the only coach in the running.
Well, I think
it was very, very interesting the way it worked out. But I will say this, that Igesund will probably do the job for that kind of money, and I have no doubt that Compella would as well. So I don't think the money is going to affect things too much now that we're down to 2. I still think that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and there's probably incentives involved as well, and bonuses. So yeah, I mean,
what we need, guys, is let's have a look at Gary Kirsten's salary, let's have a look at Heineken Meyer's salary, and let's have a look at the new Bafana boss and compare them, and compare the top players as well.
I beg your pardon. I disagree with you completely there, Neil, because Gary Kirsten comes off.
Which sports are performing?
Yeah, Gary Kirsten comes off having won a World Cup with India. You pay the price to get someone who's achieved that. He's managed to get probably the most difficult team in the world to control and get together and perform as a unit. Yeah. Gary Kirsten's been there, done that. Even Heineken Meyer is the only coach that comes into the Springbok setup on the back of some form of international success, having taken the Bulls to winning Super Rugby. So you can't really compare the two. You know, even Gordon basically bases his success on mass success in the PSL.
Yes, that's right. No, listen, sorry, that wasn't a criticism of rugby or cricket in this country. It was just I would like to know who's getting paid what.
Yeah.
What are your top players getting paid? Because in England, football is miles and miles away from cricket or rugby. Any young cricketer that could play for England will always take a job with a championship football side because the money is so much better. My godson, Alex Hales, who opens in the T20 for England sometimes, he was getting paid about a tenth of what his mate was getting at Brentford in League One. You know, when he was playing for England under-19s. The money is absolutely incomparable. I'd like to know how it looks in South Africa. And that's no criticism because cricket and rugby, you're right in the top of the top three. So yeah. I'd just like to know, that's all.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought maybe that's... you were saying it should be comparable, but I mean, it can't be. I think Gary Kirsten should be the highest paid coach in the world purely because he managed to unify a side that has the legend Sachin Tendulkar together with the Virender Sehwag, who can be temperamental, Suresh Raina, MS Dhoni. I mean, you throw all these names in, and you know how Greg Chappell battled with that side.
And Duncan Fletcher, mate.
Yeah, well, exactly.
He's not exactly enjoying himself, is he?
Gary Kirsten deserves a medal as well. I think he got one too. Well, he did get one, a World Cup, and he should have got another medal as well.
Agreed, mate. Agreed.
Cool. Listen, we penciled in Wednesday. Are you cool for that?
I'm cool for Wednesday after England have beaten Ukraine. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, it probably could happen. I think they, on quality and players they should beat them. But we'll see what happens, and hopefully it's just about the football result, about nothing else. Thanks a lot, Neil.
Cheers,
okay,
Neil.
No problem. And any time. And bye, Simon. And
bye, Neil.
Can you lay off Nicole, guys, please? There's nothing wrong with her English at all compared to the way Simon speaks.
He's defending you, Nicole.
Yeah, he's on your side, love.
Thanks, Neil.
He's on your side.
No problem,
I
Nicole.
did tweet him.
Okay.
I'm monitoring closely.
Fantastic.
I'd love to lay off Nicole, Neil.
Bye-bye. There we go.
We the best on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the best.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on Ballz.co.za. Ballz.co.za.